Hello, I'm Carol Lindsay, and I'd like to welcome you to Media Moment. Today we are talking to Pat Snow here at ActonTV.
Hey, Carol.
Hello. Pat, tell us what you do here at ActonTV.
So my job title is the Programming and Training Coordinator. I'm in charge of the workshops and classes that we run here, except for Photoshop, which Mark does. But I help him sometimes, but he's way better at Photoshop than me. Anyways, basically when members come in because they want to learn how to use a camera for the first time, or maybe they did this a long time ago, I often work with them and help figure out like what classes they might want to take to learn how to edit, how to use a camera for the first time. And then I also run camps for kids ages 10 to 13 in the summer and during the February break, and I do a bi-weekly, so every other week, junior high / high school age program at the studio.
Just a little busy.
A little bit.
Yeah. So, tell me about early Pat. Like, what led to this? I mean, how did you end up in a job like this and doing this kind of thing all day long, every day?
Early Pat.
Early Pat, yeah.
Okay, so I've loved movies since I was a little kid. Going to the movies was like one of my top 3 favorite things to do. I learned how to edit and make my own little movies with my friends when I was a teenager, which I just loved doing. And I wasn't sure if I really wanted to go into it as a career, and I ended up going to college for elementary education. So I never went to school for anything film related, but I kind of knew a lot of it. After I left school, I decided I wanted to take a break from anything to do with education. So I got back into video editing at Chelmsford Telemedia and some other places in Tingsboro and Ayer around the area that just needed a little bit of help as far as editing. And I would just call places and see who, if they had any part-time job openings or even stuff I could do for free. And I mastered some editing skills and some videography skills. Anyways, one of the places when I was working like more or less almost full-time, but between a bunch of part-time jobs, was ActonTV. And after I'd been doing stuff here for a couple of years, they had some people move on to other studios, and they had an opening here for someone to come in and do work for like 20 hours a week or so while they were going through that transition. And then they hired Mark, the executive director, and I got to know Mark, and he hired me on full-time. And because I had the education background, it worked out because what they needed here was somebody who could do things like run week-long camps for kids in the summer and teach the younger people how to use video. So I was able to meld together my passion and skills in video with just an ability to explain it to people of all ages.
And I understand that the filming doesn't stop here. So you have your own activities you love to do with creating your own work.
One of the things that happened when I was doing editing and filming work in Chelmsford was I met a guy named Fred Barzik, who used to be a producer for WGBH. He actually directed, A Christmas Story?
Yes.
He didn't direct that, but that was part of a series of films about this family. Most of them were actually PBS movies, and he directed those.
Oh. Neat.
Yeah, and he was retired in Chelmsford, but he decided that he, in his retirement, wanted to still indulge in his passion for telling stories, so he did it through the public access station, and through him I learned a little bit more of like the professional perspective of like, this is how you make a film, and I thought, this is awesome, maybe this will be a chance for me to jumpstart my own thing, taking it a little bit to the next level of professionalism than when I was having 15-year-old, lightsaber duels with my friends in the backyard. So I started making some independent films of my own, which I still do when I have the time, because it's something that I just, even if it's so exhausting that I tell myself I never want to make another short film again, it's like a couple months later goes by and I just feel like, you know what, I just really want to write something and film something because I just love it too much.
You do everything from A to Z. You don't just film it, you write it, direct it.
Yeah, pretty much,
film it.
It's very little budget. I mean, I got a small cultural council grant once, but the rest of them are all just whatever spare change I have, and then just, it's a budget of favors I've built up of people. It's like, hey, would you do this for me? Oh, sure.
So your family participates?
Yeah, my
Right,
family
yeah.
participates. My niece and nephew have acted in my films. They're really talented anyway,
They
so I'm
are.
lucky to have
I've
them.
seen them. They're great.
Yeah, yeah, they are.
They can really take out a character.
Yeah.
They're very believable.
Mm-hmm.
No, it's fun. Scary stuff. You like a little bit.
Yeah, a little bit. I mean,
but
fun,
not too scary,
playful,
not creepy
you know?
scary. But yeah, right, playful scary.
Yeah,
That's
you
true.
know, I love Tim Burton's movies, especially his
Oh yeah.
older movies where it's like, it's dark and macabre, but it's in a silly way, and it's like a celebration of it. So it's not trying to legitimately scare you. It's just a celebration of dark imagination.
Yeah, it's kind of kid-friendly scary.
Yeah, exactly,
where it's
exactly.
kinda
As long as your kid is like,
Yeah.
7 or 8. you know.
Right, not like 3 and running away
Yeah,
screaming.
exactly, yeah.
That would be good. That's not your target audience.
No, not really. That would be like Teletubbies.
Yeah, little scary Teletubbies, or little vampire
You could
Teletubbies.
definitely. Teletubbies is the one thing that's like a reverse of that. That's only like pleasant to really little kids, and for everybody else, it's kind of scary.
Right. Well, oh, yeah.
I mean, if you saw like a big 8-foot giant primary colored antenna alien looking thing, it would actually be kind of freaky.
Yeah, except for nowadays, who knows? Everything like that is, nothing is safe in the films, right? They have everything now, all the different characters and heights and creatures and everything else.
Yeah.
So, I'm curious, for your films, do you just have them act according to the script, or do they go off the script and you kind of flow with that?
Yeah, I
Curious
mean,
about that. Yeah.
I mean, personally, everybody has a different range that they're comfortable with for like how exactly they're going to memorize lines for a scene. Unless it's something like really crucial where a character has to say something very specific or else it doesn't make sense. I generally tell people that, you know, if you want to ad-lib the basic meaning of the line, sometimes that's okay. Especially when you're trying to write something that's like 2 characters who are maybe good friends and having a natural conversation. You can write that a certain way that sounds natural to you, but then you hear 2 actual human beings say those lines, and
like,
somehow something that you wrote just sounds a little fake or sounds like somebody wouldn't say it that way. So at that point, actors can put in their own thing and say, you know what, I'm not comfortable saying it this way. How about if I said this? And it's like, oh yeah, sure. So there's a lot of stuff that gets worked out on set like that.
So you can just decide what works and what doesn't, and then
Yeah.
take what's good. That's good. So you have this background in the film and everything else, and you're one of those fortunate few to take your passion and turn it into your actual job. You know, and then you fuse together your education experience. So here at ActonTV, where do you see ActonTV going, and your role in that?
Well, ActonTV, I feel like especially since Mark came on as our executive director, we've really probably exponentially increased just our presence in the community, the number of people who know about us, and the number of different community things, for lack of a better word, that we're engaged with. So that's our purpose here, really, is to be the visual media outlet of the town and surrounding towns like Boxborough, Concord. You know, we're not like explicitly limited to Acton if people want to come in from other towns. And I think my role in that is, I mean, it's hard to say my role because we really all do a little bit of everything here.
That's cable TV, right?
Yeah, exactly. Like I could say that I work with the members and help them train things, but that doesn't mean that, you know, sometimes somebody else, you know, trains somebody on how to use a camera, or they help me out in a kids camp, or then I help them out on, you know, some other project. But the thing I probably find the most fulfilling about this job is working with young people, especially this high school age group that I run every other Saturday. They remind me so much of me at that age, just with the pure joy and passion of taking out a camera, writing a short script with your friends, and just having a blast with it, but also coming up with ways to make it that much better, and to say, oh, you know, that looks like a shot from like a real movie. Let's see if we can make it even better next time. You know, when I was a kid that age, I would have a lot of friends who I tried to get to do that with me, who were not really as into film as I was. So I was always like, come on, guys, I really want to film this, let's do this. And they would do that for 10 minutes and then get distracted. So it's nice for ActonTV. It's nice for ActonTV to be a place where people can gather who are passionate about this and be around other people who are passionate about it. and learn from the experience. I think that so many more people have their own editing software of some type and cameras on their phones, and in a way that's a challenge for a place like this, but it's also an opportunity, because that becomes a way that they're introduced to just being able to film something themselves. And once they get the bug and are passionate about it from that, then they can come in here and take it to the next level and really learn some cool stuff.
Well, when you have people who are used to and understand how to use the equipment, they can get that view of things that is hard for an amateur to capture. You know, and I think that especially in cable TV, you have the opportunity to give voice to things that really count in your life. You know, milestones for education and children, and life milestones, things that are important to you and matter to you. You know, is there anything that you ever filmed or talked about in your experiences that was really important to you, that you felt would help people, you know, to express what they needed to express in a functional and healthy way? You know, which is what is great about cable TV. Or ActonTV, that opportunity.
It is a great opportunity. I do a show here. One of my first films that I made was a show, one of the first films I made was a short film called Truth, about this character that takes place inside this person's head. And you see this, that starts with, like, you know, a man and a woman talking, but they're both the same person. And the idea that you realize throughout it is that this is like the mind of a transgender person, and you know, born biologically male, but there's this true version of themselves that's female, that's inside their head, and basically they go through a mind walk of their own thoughts and memories.
Wow.
And for me, that was, I mean, in that case, it wasn't so much my own experiences, because I'm not transgender myself. Part of the LGBT community, but not that way. But I've always been, you know, curious about other people's experiences and trying to imagine what it's like. And so that was an example of me using film as a way of trying to imagine an experience. And the benefit of that was I got to meet a producer named Kelly Jenkins, and who is a transgender woman from Tennessee, who has an amazing story, and was came in here, and we now do a show together. And so there was weird things happen when you make films. I had no idea that I would ever meet her, but I met her because of the film and helped her to do a show here.
She had a long-running show here.
Yeah, she did like more than 20 episodes.
And such a wonderful, eye-opening experience for someone who has not had any experience with that point of view. Just talking about different points of that issue that were quite eye-opening, like you just don't realize.
I think that's the idea of it, is just to you know, give someone else a window into your world, and then maybe they get a window into your world. You know. Right,
and you just it's an open forum for non-judgmental expression of thoughts and speech and quests of the heart. Kelly's Quest, it was called, wasn't it? Well, Patrick Snow.
Yes.
Thank you so much for joining me.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
Oh, you're welcome. Is there anything you'd like to give some last parting worldly wise advice about?
Worldly wise advice.
If anyone's interested in this and they're like, oh my God, that looks so impossible and difficult, and why can't I just film it on my phone? Why is you know?
Yeah, well, I mean, and there's nothing wrong with filming anything on your phone.
No, there isn't.
But it's not impossible, and places like ActonTV are unique and valuable in a community, because you can be a complete beginner and have zero experience, or you can have done this 20 years ago and decide you want to get back into it, and we're that place. We're that place you can come learn about, you know, modern HD cameras or modern editing software, and create your own works. And you know, if you do it and it turns out not at all like you expected, and you think it's terrible, and you feel like you totally failed, then you just do it again. You know, we're not going to kick you out, you know, for not knowing everything immediately right away. This is a learning environment, and it's an environment to explore, you know, all of video production and have fun with it.
Sounds good to me. All right, Patrick Snow, thank you very much for joining me for Media Moment. And everyone have a great night, and come on over to ActonTV and film something wonderful.
Mm-hmm.